Last month, a lifesaver pilot Mark Gann was killed in a crash while trying to help someone in need.
Weeks later, his widow is still dealing with the pain.
I look up and I try to remember the time that I was lucky enough to have him, but I'm kind of in that pit right now.
Lifesaver 4 out of Sylacauga went down while answering a call for a hiker in distress. Both Mark Gann and registered nurse Adam Russell were killed.
And medic Amanda Daniels was the only survivor. Tonight, Mark Gann's widow is opening up. Only on WVTM 13, Brenda Gann sits down with Rick Carly to talk about life, loss, and lessons learned from the man she calls her hero.
It's been over a month now, and the love notes remain stuck to the cupboards in their Sylacauga home. Love notes written and saved by the veteran medical helicopter pilot and his wife.
He said that, anytime he thought about how much he loved me, he just would write something down.
They met 17 years ago. He was single, she was younger. He was piloting a medical chopper, she was an EMT.
He was my strong tower, my home, and I'm jealous. I want him back. He was a hero to many, but he was also my hero.
Mark Gann was born to be a chopper pilot. The Tallahassee, Alabama native joined the Army at the age of 17. He became a paratrooper in Grenada, an Army Ranger in Honduras. He flew choppers in Panama, Iran, Iraq, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. He was a military man.
Why didn't he want to be called a hero?
He said he hadn't earned that title. He said, heroes give up their lives for what they believe in. Heroes save lives, and I don't know that I've done that.
After 20 years in the military, Mark Gann turned to civilian life, where he would spend another 20 years saving more lives as a pilot for Lifesaver 4, based in Sylacauga.
How many lives did he save?
I don't know the exact number. I do know that between military and civilian, he saved thousands of lives.
It was April 2nd when Mark Gann left his wife a love note. He was off to save another life.
They were en route to the call, and then the unthinkable happened.
The chopper went down in Shelby County. Mark Gann, along with RN Adam Russell, were gone.
He told me several times, if something should happen to me, at least I died doing what I loved.
Brenda Gann is coping by reminding herself what her husband left behind. A legacy of patriotism, heroism, helping his fellow man.
He was a true public servant, though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He dedicated his life to serving others.
Does it bring you any peace or comfort knowing the amount of lives that he saved?
Kind of a sense of peace, knowing that even if it was just for a few minutes, he was able to touch someone's life and be a light in their darkness. And that does bring me some solace.
It's not easy finding solace these days, but Brenda Gann is doing her best, remembering her husband's words that he often preached.
If you're in a pit and you can't find the light, just look up and you'll see the daylight. I look up and I try to remember the time that I was lucky enough to have him, but I'm kind of in that pit right now.
431 days from retiring.
431 days. He had a countdown on his phone. We had a calendar.
A calendar whose days move slowly. A calendar that sits right next to the love notes in the kitchen.
The selfish part of me craves that time that I would have gotten with him. I mean, I told him all the time he was literally my heart walking around outside of my body. He was the missing piece that completed me. He was my hero. Always will be my hero.
Rick Carly reporting. Brenda says her husband was tough, yet very kind. She calls him a teddy bear in warrior's armor.
Brenda hasn't touched those sticky notes in the kitchen since her husband passed, and she says she won't be taking them down anytime soon.